If you want the latest in weather conditions, be sure to tune in to our Busy Bee Plumbing weather report each weekday on Mornings on Main Street. Brought to you, of course, by Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning. We will keep you updated on the latest conditions outside, like severe weather, heat, snow, rain, and even hail.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather on Main Street.
Well, good morning. Taylor Platt here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center with a quick look at your forecast. Once we head throughout the morning hours on Wednesday, a few scattered showers are going to be possible, but once we get to the afternoon hours, I think most places end up being dry here. Temperatures getting up into the 80s. Dry evening is expected with just a few passing clouds. Temperatures will be dropping down into the 60s by the time we wake up on your Thursday morning. 7-day forecast looks like this. We are keeping a close eye on Friday into Saturday morning. That's going to be our next chance at strong and even severe storms. Still too early to know details on exact timing, what magnitudes of threats we're dealing with, so keep checking back with us for the latest on that. Beyond that, system showers and storms remain possible Saturday afternoon all the way into Monday.
Good morning, Stefanie.
Good morning. Hi, kids. Hot tea.
Welcome to Mornings on Main Street. I'm your host, Stefanie Miller. The American Cancer Society is kicking off its season for its Relay for Life events. One of the first ones happening here in Clarksville off of Madison Street at the Hilldale United Methodist Church. That Relay for Life event will be taking place this Friday from 5 to 8. You're encouraged to come out and make a donation. Funds from these events will go back to help with the work done by the American Cancer Society. Some of the funds will also go back to help the home away from home known as the Hope Lodge, which is in Nashville. We encourage you to check out our Mornings on Main Street segment from May 12th. That show was centered around the work and all the good being done at the Hope Lodge. But this event is also a way for us to come out and to remember those that we have lost, those that we know that have lost their battle with cancer, to cheer on those that we know battling cancer now, and to congratulate and celebrate the men and women and children who have won their battle. And speaking of winning, today we sit down with a breast cancer survivor who talks to us about receiving that diagnosis, going through treatment, and to talk to us about how she stayed positive through it all. We also hear from a chief radiation therapist who shares with us the concerns that she hears from her patients. But first, let's get a check of our headlines. Upon laptop lenses, former Giles County resident Jared James Dabbs in federal prison for the next 40 years, sentenced on 1 count of sexual exploitation of a minor and 3 counts of receipt of child pornography. According to a press release from the Middle District of Tennessee United States Attorney's Office, he pawned his laptop at Big Boss Pawn and Gun in Pulaski. When the pawn shop owner inspected the laptop to confirm it was operable, he found child sexual abuse material on the laptop and contacted law enforcement. Tennessee's largest legal nonprofit, At Legal Aid Society, has a re-entry project that assists Tennesseans in overcoming some of the most common legal issues that occur after incarceration. Ways that we can help include driver's license reinstatement, voting rights restoration, and in some cases, expungement. 1 in 3 U.S. adults, around 77 million people, has a previous incarceration, conviction, or arrest. If you live in Middle Tennessee and have a criminal history, Legal Aid Society might be able to help. With a completed Eagle Scout project, 17-year-old Anthony Kinsey has partnered with the local VFW to fulfill the need of placing flag retirement drop boxes at 2 locations in Houston County. Each box is a place to drop off worn and battered flags to be properly retired by by both the VFW and Scout Troop 305 of Erin. For these stories and others from our Middle Tennessee communities, please visit mainstreetmediatn.com. Let us connect you with a team that you'll be bedazzled by when you connect with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Let's meet the team. This is Charles Calvert, known as One Take. He's the plumbing service manager. Here we have Matt Cook. He's known as Big Country. He's the HVAC service manager. Hey! Visit Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning for all your needs.
Being in Tennessee, we wanted to try to keep it as local as possible, so we have an entire section of our menu that is just dedicated to local whiskeys like Uncle Nearest, Jack Daniels, of course, George Dickel, Nelson Brothers, Greenbrier Whiskey, and all of our taps are all local. From 2 o'clock until midnight, we've got food every day for you guys. A good handful of appetizers, some entrees, and a couple salads and things like that. My name is Ethan Kanata. Please come down and see us at the PIC Lobby Bar here at the Omni in Nashville.
This is Joyce Beard. She is a stage 4 breast cancer survivor. She talks to us about being thankful that they caught her breast cancer early. What has it been like for you after your treatments?
It's been an emotional period in my life, more than I've ever had before. I'm thankful, and I'm intentional, and I'm emotional.
How long has it been since your last treatment?
I finished treatment September 5th, 2024.
Okay, so still not even a year.
Not a year. No, I've had 1 year since my diagnosis, and I had my 1 year mammogram follow-up, and it was clear.
Hearing, those words, like, can you go back to that day?
I can. I was flying, actually. I'm a flight attendant, and I had just flown from San Antonio to Dallas, and I was waiting for a call. I'd been anxiously waiting for over 2 weeks for that call. And everybody got off the plane, and my phone rang, and I picked it up, and it was my nurse practitioner, and she said, "Joyce, I have your results. Do you want me to tell you now?" Or I happened to be scheduled to go in for my annual exam with her the next day. She said, "I can tell you tomorrow, or I can tell you now." And I said, "Just tell me now." I said, "I already know, but I need you to say it." So she told me I had breast cancer, that it was invasive. So I boarded the plane, and I worked to Denver, and my crew was fabulous. I shared with them at that point what was going on. They knew I was waiting for a phone call, but they didn't know why. And I just shared with them. I said, "I have to tell you something." And they were just wonderful.
Did you keep a positive outlook for those, women that are out there? They have that sort of lifestyle that you have, on the go, on the move, family. How did you, if you did stay positive, how did you do that?
I had periods of not being positive and fearful and very concerned about my future until we got all the final results back and we had a treatment plan and we knew the stage of my breast cancer. We were like, how long do I have? And we just became like, we can't focus on the negative. We have to be positive. We have to think, be prepared to fight. We can't say, oh no, this is the end. We have to keep going. And we just did. My family rallied around me. And my older daughter, she immediately realized she was going to have to be my primary caregiver. My husband and I, we were too emotional. We weren't asking the right questions, and we couldn't remember what the doctors told us when we got home. So she was able to just switch her hat and become my caregiver when she needed to be, and then my daughter when she needed to be. And she was my rock. And I was very fortunate that we caught it early. We caught it on my annual mammogram.
How long have you been getting mammograms?
I've been getting them since whenever they're recommended. I think 40 when I started, and I've never missed a year, and I've never been late. I've always scheduled them on time.
You say you're still emotional. How are you, working against that?
Well, I have several support groups that I belong to, and I stay very active in those things. And I learned about self-care. I didn't really have self-care until this happened. And I always wanted to take care of my family, my husband, my passengers, my friends, and I learned that I had to start taking care of myself, and I do that all the time. I make sure I am active. I do physical activity. I stretch every morning. I go to the chiropractor. I take nice long soaking baths. I do acupuncture. I do everything I can to keep myself feeling well.
For someone going through this, what do they need to make sure that they are asking, that they're tuning into?
Well, first you need to get education on it. I thought breast cancer was just breast cancer. I didn't know there were different types of breast cancer. So I had to, that was all new, and I came home and I was like, I don't remember. So I had to get myself educated on the different types of breast cancer and then understand the stages of it and what that means. And also, some of it's they consider curable and some of it's not. And some of it's like, I didn't know what a lymph node was. I've heard that term all my life, but I didn't really know what it was. So I had to learn about all of those things. And then I had to understand, like, some chemo is oral, some chemo is infusion, and I didn't understand all that. I just didn't realize that there were so many complicated pieces to it.
So thank goodness for your daughter, for her being there. That's wonderful. And what is that bond between the two of you now?
It's strong. So we are very different personalities, and we were both able to put our differences aside. We just see things differently. We approach life differently. And we were able to be together and work through all of my issues that I had, my complications from my chemo. She was so thoughtful when I lost my hair. She was everything to me during every step. Both of my girls were, but my other daughter has 3 little children, and they're little boys. They're very young, and she has her hands full, but they both were there for me the whole time. But Haley, my older daughter, we just put aside and focused on me getting through the treatment. And now, since then, we butt heads again now.
It's like we made it through that.
Yeah, so I was very self-conscious about going to work with a wig on.
Is that a wig?
Yes. And
Joyce, that looks great.
She was like, Mom, why are you still worried about it? She's like, you shouldn't even be thinking about that. You're going back to work. And she's like, if it bothers you so much, don't wear a wig. And she knows that's not me. Yeah. So we had a little discussion about it, and then she apologized. She's like, I know, I understand. But she's like, I just wish you wouldn't worry about it being a wig all the time.
Well, I wouldn't have. Would not have thought that was a wig until you said that.
Yeah.
Did you gradually lose your hair, or did you decide to shave your head?
Both.
Oh, okay.
So they told me, and I had treatments every 2 weeks, and they told me that after my first treatment, my hair would be gone by the second treatment. And it was falling out. I would just touch my hair or rearrange it, and it would be all over my hands. It was all down my shirt. Or if I laid down, it would be on the pillow. And that was traumatizing, to see your hair coming out and to feel it. And it got so thin, I couldn't do anything with it. And I couldn't style it, and it just looked terrible. So I made the decision to go shave it. And I went by myself, which my older daughter really wanted to come. She was like, let me go with you. And I said, I just need to do this myself. My hair was everything to me. You don't realize how important your hair is until you lose it. It changes everything. And I said, I just need to do this by myself. I said, I'll be fine. I cried, I wept before I left the house. And I pulled myself together and I went. And she went to the shop before I went there, and she had a beautiful bouquet of flowers waiting for me with an awesome card. And it was waiting for me. I had the stylist turn me away from the mirror. I couldn't watch. So I just looked out the window. At first I had my eyes closed, and I said, why do you have your eyes closed? You're not even looking in the mirror. So I opened my eyes, and it was May of 2024. So everything was green, and it was pretty outside. So I just looked out the window while she did it. And they covered me with a wig before they turned me around. I had already went and pre-picked out a wig. Really? It wasn't this one, but I had one picked out already. So I left the shop with hair.
At some point you had to take the wig off.
My husband nobody ever saw me bald. No. Nobody. I just couldn't do it. In October of 2024, we went on vacation with our family. And I was like, I can't wear this wig all the time. My grandsons, nobody had ever seen me without. They hadn't even seen me in a beanie. They always saw me in a wig. And I was like, we're all in the same house for a week. Yeah. So I took the little boys into the bedroom, and I said, you know how they call me Geeky? I said, you know, Geeky's been sick. And I said, well, this isn't my hair. I was like, my hair's all gone, and I want to show you something. So I took it off, and they were like, and they were like, can we touch it? And I was like, yeah. So they saw me. They're the only ones that have seen me that way.
Any advice for husbands who has a wife battling cancer? as they're going through this?
Yes. First of all, let them be afraid and let them say their fears out loud and then move forward. Don't get stuck in it. I even told my husband at one time, I felt super guilty. I was super sick from my chemo. And I said, I don't know if it comes back, I don't think I can do this again. And I said, I feel terribly guilty for saying that. And he let me say it. I shared it with my children and they all said they understood. But then they were like, well, let's not focus on this. It's not gonna come back and we'll face it. If it does come back, we'll figure out what we're gonna do then. But it's okay that you feel that way, but don't get stuck there. We still have we're fighting this battle right now. Don't be thinking about the future battle. But it did me so much good to be able to share where I was at that moment. And I didn't feel like I had to keep things in. I could share, like, I can't stand this. I can't stand being sick. Might be day 3 after my chemo, or like, my husband let me vent those things out to him. And so be there and let them say what they need to say and then help them move on and encourage them and just be supportive. But allow those feelings to come out because they need to come out.
That's great advice for whether you're a man or a woman going through this, a husband or a wife. What about for any cancer patient out there? What can you say
My
to them?
advice to them, it is a process and it can be a messy process, but it's worth it. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. I want to live. I'm not afraid to die. I feel my future secure in my death there, but I wanna live and I wanna enjoy life. I wanna enjoy my family, my grandchildren, and I love traveling. I love all my adventures, and I was like, I'll fight it. And just to go back, when I said I don't think I can do this again, I don't know if you have children, but after you have a child, you're like, you're 9 months pregnant, you're miserable, your feet are swollen, and then you go through labor. My labors were hard. I had natural childbirth. And the first one, you're like, I'm not doing this again. I can't have another baby. This is too terrible. And then you do. You get past it and you move past it, and that's where I am today. I pray, I do everything I can to keep it from coming back. I've radically changed my diet. I've radically changed the way I live my life. I'm doing everything I can so it won't come back, but if it comes back, I'll fight. I'll fight.
We are the ones that they see daily. They usually see the physician and nursing like once a week, or if they're having any issues. But as therapists, we really get to know our patients because we see them daily, and
What is the most common question or concern that you hear from them, since you are the one seeing them as they're going through this treatment?
Yeah, they usually by the time they get to us, they've thankfully been pretty educated. But I will say, this is such a hard process, and especially for patients that don't have a huge support system, they get so much information that it's kind of, they only pick up bits and pieces. So definitely radiation is always scary, right? So you think, we have patients say, am I going to be radioactive? Absolutely not. Not with this type of radiation. Once it's off with the machine, it's off. And then, they ask us, how do you protect our other organs? If you're killing off cancer cells, are you going to kill off all of our other cells? And which is very important. But thankfully, technology has advanced at this point to where we are able to do those things. We're able to block out, for breast cancer, we're able to block out a lot of the heart, a lot of the lung and other things, so we don't damage it while trying to still damage the cancer cells.
How can we best support our loved ones when they're going through their treatments?
I think advocating for screenings, and just kind of pushing family members to know that any cancer is best treatable once detected early. And if they get that diagnosis, I would say being the support person in the way of helping them go to their appointments. I actually went to, there's an organization in Lebanon called Sherry's Hope.
Yes.
Yeah, so I went to their gala on Saturday night, and they had a patient speaker, and one of the things that she said that every patient needs to hear is that you have to bring somebody with you. Now, not every patient has a good support system, but everyone has at least one person. Again, for the reasons I told you, the information, it just is too much for them to remember. They might just focus on the really terrible parts of the conversations. You don't know, you might think you're the strongest person in the world, but then once you get that diagnosis, you could be extremely emotional. So I would say always be there for them, even if they're like, oh, I guess I could do it by myself. No, let me come with you. Let me be there with you, even if I'm just a fly on the wall, just to support.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything, you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Get ready, race fans. NASCAR is back in Music City with a new name, the Cracker Barrel 400. Guitars, fast cars, and the comfort of Cracker Barrel's country hospitality. May 30th through June 1st. The action kicks off Friday night at Nashville Superspeedway with the Rackley Roofing 200. Then the Tennessee Lottery 250 on Saturday. And Sunday night, NASCAR's top stars under the lights in the Cracker Barrel 400. Get your tickets now at NashvilleSuperspeedway.com.
Are you the biggest race fan? Our friends at Rackley Roofing want to send you to the Rackley 200 Craftsman Truck Series race at the Nashville Superspeedway on May 30th. Go to your favorite Main Street Media page and click the Enter to Win banner. We will see you at the track. Would you like to learn more about the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life events? Like if there is one near you, or how to create a Relay for Life event in your area? You can do that by going to cancer.org. Before you look back at our segment from Monday, May 12th on the Hope Lodge, which is a home away from home for those receiving treatment and their caregivers. That's located in Nashville. Head over to our YouTube channel, Mornings on Main Street. Again, that's Mornings on Main Street that you can find at YouTube. Please subscribe. But if you're looking for the show focused on the Hope Lodge in Nashville, just look for the date, May 12th. Thanks so much for joining us here. Have a fantastic afternoon. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Well, this is the coolest thing ever. We're here with Jenna Woldzik, and oh my goodness, feeding a giraffe. That's what you get to do in the Backstage Pass, right?
It is indeed. And this is Nasha. She's our oldest giraffe, 10 years old. She sometimes decides she wants to hang out. You'll typically get our boy, Kendi, who is just on the other side. He's a little bit smaller than she is. Oh, getting a little braver.
Jenna, tell me, a little bit about, there's 5 giraffes in here, so tell me a little bit about each of them.
So again, this is Kendi. He's our only bull. And then we've got 4 other females. He's the youngest of the group, and Nasha is the oldest of the group. So she's 10 years old. He is about to be 5. Coming up behind him is Amira. She is we like to call her the sassiest or the judgiest of the group. She gives you a lot of side eye. Oh, hi. Violet is our youngest giraffe. She's going to be the one that's the most shy. You might see her in a Backstage Pass tour further in the back just watching. And then we have Tazama, who is coming up between the 2 giraffes. She reminds me of Kramer from Seinfeld, the way her hair kind of stands up on her ossicones. So that's a good identifier for you when you come to meet the giraffe.
Right, and meeting the giraffes is coming soon. As I mentioned earlier, we're working on a new exhibit called Leopard Forest. So you'll have to take the Leopard Forest pathway to get up to see giraffes. We hope to open that soon, and you'll be able to see all 5 of these giraffes on exhibit. But in the meantime, if you wanted to come back and meet them personally and feed them like we do here, it's part of our Backstage Pass program. If you're interested in that, you just go to our website, look under experiences, and you'll see Backstage Pass. And we have a bunch of different animals that you could visit. Giraffe is just one of them. So we're here today feeding giraffes, and I know that we're all just thrilled to be here.
We are. And can you take the giraffe selfies? I mean, can you take your picture?
Yeah, this guests are welcome to hold up a piece of lettuce and take the selfie in their situation. As you can see, they don't really have any sort of boundaries once they start enjoying their snacks.
If you would like to watch this show and others, be sure to download our mobile app, Main Street Media TV Mobile. You can also find our programs on streaming services that include Apple, Amazon, and Roku, as well as on YouTube, social media, and MainStreetMediaTV.com.